This is Back Roads of Illinois, server to farmers and ranchers in central Illinois and the Midwest. This is Back Roads of Illinois, server to farmers and ranchers in central Illinois and the Midwest. We're glad you're here on today for our program. I'm Cesar Delgado from Back Roads of Illinois. We were talking about the agricultural industry and information on the grains markets. I hope that you will join me for Inside of the Farm Sector on Back Roads of Illinois for each day only on Agri America podcast page. And on my YouTube channel, it's Back Roads of Illinois. I hope to see you there. All right. The microbiology is very important to the plant. What is their respective of the level of nutrients in the plant? We were joining with Joe Dedman from Monty Plant Food. And this week is pretty busy with the trade woes and the fundamentals with the corn markets. What's new with the government shutdown is playing out. However, it is not easy to talk about that for right now. We were talking about that with our friend of the show. He is co-owner of Blue Reef Agri Markets in Morton, Illinois. It is Chip N. This been Back Roads of Illinois. The microbiology is very important to the plant. What is their respective of the level of nutrients in the plant? We were joining with Joe Dedman from Monty Plant Food. Joe, how are you and welcome to join us for our program.
Thank you, Caesar. I am excited to be on your program, Back Roads of Illinois. Very clever little title there of your show. And so, yeah, you mentioned about the microbiology, and it is very, very important to the uptake of nutrients into the plant. If soils does not have microbiology in it, like the ones we can see, are earthworms, and those are the big ones. But there's lots and lots of thousands of other biology in the soil that makes plants grow. So it doesn't matter which you're in, whether you're in Illinois, which is a big corn and soybean state, that you have to have this biology working underneath the soil to feed the plant. And actually, it's a very symbiotic relationship between the plant and the soil biology. They both work together. And remember, the plant can't go anywhere. So the soil becomes its stomach. So it communicates between the plant roots and the soil biology to get the nutrients that it needs into the plant through the biology in the soil.
Of course. Joe, plants need food, just not water.
Well, you're right. It's got to have water, but among the water, it's got to have the nutrients. And of course, when it rains, when it puts soil moisture into the soil, that's a good environment to allow the biology to begin to work and to move nutrients around through that soil solution with the water. And then therefore the root hairs begin to take up like drinking out of that soil moisture content and soil water solution of those rich nutrients that are in there provided by the soil biology to break all that down and make it available to the plant.
Of course. Joe, so let's discuss about your product on microbiological to the plants. What are the main reasons to put some microbes to the plant?
Well, that's very interesting because in today's world, farmers are seeking uh, higher and higher yields. And not only farmers, but you take even the homeowner or the one that grows a garden, they want more and more produce, more production. Well, our products complement all of that. And in fact, Monty's is a leader in humic technology, which is a very a natural organic product that is complementary to the soil because it comes from the soil. And then we put it back in the soil in a very activated state that allows the biology to thrive and to increase in their numbers. And we have to have those numbers in the soil to break down the nutrients and make them available to the plant. So many of our products complement and work with the soil biology. In today's world, a lot of people are looking at adding other microbial products or microbes to the soil. And in many cases, that is complementary because many of their soils have either been depleted of the microbes that they need, has worked with the weather where it maybe has washed some of the soil away, or it's been too hot and has killed off some microbes, or it's been too wet and it like drowns them, and so they're lacking some of the microbes in the soil. So we have developed many products at Monty's to allow farmers to replenish that in the soil as well as help the plant take up nutrients. And so they all work together. And that is our goal at Monty's Plant Food is develop products that complement the farmer and his search or his need for products that will help his crops grow bigger, better, stronger, and produce more. And really, we even think about return on investment. So the money they spend on our products will give them back more than the money that they spent on our products. So that's the return on investment.
You have other products to offer to sell to farmers.
We do. We have a whole range of products. We have a lot of them that complement the soil. We have starters that farmers use quite often. They put it in the furrow or in their 2x2 beside the row. Those are the farmers that have equipment that allows them to do that. Then there's others that either maybe doesn't have that equipment and they put it on over top of the crop or over top of the soil. If there are no tillers, they still put it on over top and then plant through it. Or if they're conventional farmers where they work the ground, then they spray the ground and then plant through it. But then we also have those starters that help the plant start. We have others that are micronutrients to foliar feed the plant when it's in need of a nutrient. In many cases, the farmers will see that their crops are, let's say, hurting, and they will see them turn colors like, oh, it's turning yellow. What is my symptom that's out there? And if they go out and look and it says, well, it's showing signs of zinc deficiency, striping in the leaves, then they know to go out and foliar apply some zinc and possibly even put some more on the soil so that the plant can receive the nutrient it needs to grow and to build into the kind of plant that they want to have the production off of their acres on. So, yeah, we focus on many different products. In fact, farmers can visit our website anytime at www.montysplantfood.com, and then they can explore that entire website as to all the products that we carry, different products that has some of our humic technology in it. Is what makes us excel in the industry with our humic technology. And that is the one thing that farmers can buy and put on their farms to make things work a lot more efficiently in what they're doing right now. It just makes it all work better. So this is some of the things they could explore on our website. in as well. So we know farmers are harvesting.
What is your final thoughts about this crop for this year's growing season?
Well, I think for some farmers, it has been a good year as far as yield. The disappointing part is our commodity prices. So they're really struggling to bring in the income to pay back everything that they put in the crop. And then the other part is some of the farmers that, like I was talking about, that's been in some really heavy drought areas. They may very well lose money this year, which is super sad for all the farmers out there that struggle and work so hard and put all that money and time and investment into their crops, and yet circumstances changes on them, and they cannot bring back the income that they'd like to get, and it makes it a struggle on them and their family and their farm. So that's part of the reason that we try and work with farmers at Monty's to get them back to that higher level. And I think this season coming up is going to be a struggle because of high fertility prices in the dry market. I mean, they're some of the highest I think we've seen so far. So for the poor farmer has to go out and try and put on a high price fertilizer when the markets are still in a depressed state of very low pricing on corn and soybeans and even wheat. But this is part of their struggles every single year. How do I make ends meet? How do I juggle out my fertility program and my farming program so that I do come out with money at the end of the year? And that's what we're here to try and help farmers to do and to see and to find ways in which to do that. So we're welcome and open to farmers contacting us, and we have many reps across the country that helps work with farmers to bring them back to that higher ROI per acre. So we look forward to doing that, and I appreciate you bringing me on today, Caesar.
Don't forget to pay the bills, Joe.
That's right. Yes, don't forget to pay the bill.
Thanks, Joe. I enjoyed our conversation.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Caesar. I look forward to possibly coming back on someday on Back Roads of Illinois.
Joe Desmond from Monty planned food for today on Back Roads of Illinois. This week is pretty busy with the trade woes and the fundamentals with the corn markets. What's new with the government shutdown is playing out. However, it is not easy to talk about that for right now. We were talking about that with our friend of the show. He is co-owner of Blue Reef Agri Markets in Morton, Illinois. It is Chip N. Chip, how are things in Morton, home of Potters?
That's right, home of the Potters.
Mm.
Doing Morton's great. Weather's great right now. Beautiful fall. Yeah, the government's shut down still. Doesn't look like there's much give in either side right now. So unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to get the November crop report, at least on time. It's supposed to be on the 10th. That would have been really great information for this market, but that's not going to happen. Possibly if they get open sooner rather than later, we could maybe see them delay that out to maybe the end of the month. But government shutdowns kind of created a black hole of information right now, Caesar.
Right. We were watching for this on November.
Yeah, November again, that crop report was would have been really important for the market. I've heard some chatter here and some speculation that sometime in the first week or 10 days of November they would expect to get the government open. A lot of pressure on each side right now, people not getting paid. So this thing's kind of coming to a head, it looks like, hopefully.
Mhm.
Of course. Chip. Let's take a moment to talk about beans demand for China. What is your thoughts on this issue for right now?
Yeah, Caesar, that was the big news, really, for the month as we close the month of October here. That was the big news in the grain markets. We finally got some confirmation this week of an agreement with China. A lot of confusion around that. Still a lot of confusion as to exactly how much they're going to take and when. But as best as I can figure it out, they are supposedly going to take 12 million tons of U.S. beans yet this calendar year, so in the next 60 days. And then they've committed to buying 25 million tons of beans in each of the next 3 years. Some confusion as to whether that's a calendar year or a crop marketing year, because that's different. The bean market liked it, closed up sharply for the week. We've gained probably close to $1.10 a bushel in the last month. And so it looks like the Chinese demand situation is, for the time being, going to be there going forward due to this this trade agreement that we had done this week.
What is your thoughts from yesterday, and what is your main concern that we are going to have them on our list for right now?
Yeah, so I have a lot of concerns, Caesar. I'm a worrywart. My biggest concern is, obviously that China doesn't live up to their agreement. We'll see. I mean, if they're going to buy 12 million tons of beans in calendar year 2025, they better get after it. So we'll see if that happens here over the next 2 months. First and foremost, I have a longer term concern that China won't, live up to that agreement unless there's a problem in Brazil. Got some concerns about these government reports. We need to get the government back open and some crop reports out of the way. Excuse me, to get a feel for where yields are. That's going to be a very important point for the grain markets in here. And historically, once we would have been getting regular yield updates on the September and October crop report, and now on the November crop report. They historically do not do a yield change or survey for the December report. And then we get our final yield in demand world numbers, but final yield number in the January crop report. So it's conceivable, if there's no November crop report, that we get a January crop report. So we get one crop report, and you're going to get this market, the final yield. So that could be wildly volatile rather than kind of seeing the trend over several months of crop reports. So that's also an issue we're going to have to battle going forward, and we got to get the government open first and foremost. So those are kind of two of the main issues on my mind right now.
How is the January beans for this morning after the close chip?
Yeah, January closed right up near the highs, up 7.5 cents on the day, about 14 cents off the lows from the overnight. Again, is a strong weekly close, strong monthly close. So technically and on the chart, the bean market is looking good for higher right now. A lot of farmers left to sell. They're hoping for higher prices driven by China. But as a one-off here this week, and at least for today, and a really strong close for the day and to end the week.
Right.
The beef demand from Argentina, it's really not looking good with the ranchers. What is your position on the cattle markets?
Yeah, that has been a as crazy a market as I've probably seen. Ranks right up there with some of the biggest drops, biggest volatility that I've seen in a market in 30 years. Yeah, longer term, we got the Trump tweet going back here a couple weeks that beef prices are too high and ranchers are making too much money and we're importing more Argentine beef. At the end of the day, I don't know if any of what we're doing is really going to lower the price of beef, but this is a market. All these markets are based on perception. The funds have had record long positions in cattle and feeder cattle for probably close to 3 years now. They've made a lot of money being long cattle. And in something like that, when you shake the market up that much, we broke about $60 off the highs in about 2 weeks in feeder cattle, about $30 in live cattle. We've rallied back off of that a little bit. I think longer term, if you're a cattle producer, you have to just keep risk in mind. Don't stay open on these cattle. Do something, whether that's an LRP insurance contract, whether that's a CME put. Um, do something. I think we can rally back some, halfway back to the high or 2/3 of the way back to recent highs. But I would not, if I were a producer, hold out hope that we're going to move back into new all-time highs. I think we have to protect risk, protect downside. You just, obviously see what one tweet can do to this market. And we've had the wind at our backs for a long time, and it seems like the wind has shifted, and now we got a strong wind blowing right in our face in the cattle industry.
How is the Packers bids for the North and in Illinois as well, Chip?
Yeah, that's Packer bids are going to be a little bit lower this week. There's been some volatility. I don't know that we're very well established yet in the North, but I've heard $4 or $5 swings even just today on cash cattle. That's real. That's the real frustrating part of this is, some of the spotlight has been on ranchers and cattle producers to lower the cost of beef, and they really don't have much to do with it. It's the Packers. There's been no talk about that, right? Large percentage of them aren't even U.S. industries, right? We got Smithfield that's China. We got JBS that's Brazilian. There's not been much focus on those, but that's at the heart of the matter. That and the retail side is where the price of beef is set, and ranchers and producers don't have a lot of say in it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's really tough, tough going right now for sure.
Do you have any final thoughts on the balance sheet on January?
Well, I would, on the grain side, back on that, not to beat a dead horse. I think that there's some upside here, but we have big crops. No matter what they do on future USD reports, I do think they can come down on corn yields, maybe a touch lower on bean yields, but we're just unfortunately not in a situation where we're likely going to see a runaway bull market and corn go back to $5.50 and beans go back to 13 without a major weather problem in Brazil, that is. So I think as farmers we have to again put a pencil to it, see what our yields were, pick some spots here, especially if we see some profitable levels in corn and beans over the next couple of months, and be willing to part with some of these bushels, especially if we got some profits made, because it sure didn't look very good, 3 months ago when we were on the lows and staring, a couple $100 an acre losses at us. Got a lot of that back. Arguably, beans are at break even. Corn's probably a little bit profitable right now, but take advantage of rallies when you got them. If you're on the cattle side, boy, manage that risk. When these rallies come, and they could come very sharp, very fast, be willing and able to protect the downside price risk, because we all know firsthand now after what has happened what the reality is of just a couple tweets, couple policy changes, and the tide really shifted fast in the cattle markets.
Thanks, Kip. I enjoyed our conversation for today, and finally we were glad that we are in the weekend.
Well, I appreciate it, Caesar. I had a good time as always, and I hope everybody has a great weekend, and happy trick-or-treating.
Kip in from Blue Reef on back roads of Illinois.